Welcome back for another video. Fresh off the back of the weekend's games, let's talk about what we've learned to take into the final 2 game weeks, where we should be focusing transfers and captaincy, and I'll run through my team and transfer plans as well. So Ipswich 0, Brentford 1. Cielo, Wissa and Bournemouth all start as expected, but not the high scoring game we'd hoped for. Wissa had scored against the bottom 3 on all 5 occasions that he'd faced them this season, but he blanked on the 6th and final time in a week where he's one of the most bought players in the game as well. He took 5 shots as well, but he ended up getting a yellow card. It was an attempted overhead kick and he ended up kicking Greaves in the head rather than the ball, so 1 point for him. But yeah, Cielo with the goal. That's 35 points for the 5.2 million midfielder over the last 4 game weeks. That's literally more points than any player in the league. Did any of you pick him up last game week? I mean, I was glad to see him score after we had him on the face of the players to buy video, so well played if you went for him, 11 points. And Bumo got the assist as well, so at least no blank there for the heavily popular captain. 3 clean sheets for Brentford in their last 6 now. They have shown some improvement defensively, and in 3 of those 6 games they conceded less than 1 XG. Fulham home next, and then it's Wolves away, gameweek 38. Now that the Ipswich fixtures pass, Wissa's a bit less of an obvious forward choice compared to some others in the discussion this week, but it's still a great choice for 6.8 million. Don't be put off by the blank, and we'll talk more about forwards in a minute. Southampton 0, Man City 0. One of the upsets of the season, surely. Does anyone remember on Friday's video, I was talking about Southampton's 6% chance, and I said, can you imagine if they actually did it? 0.11 expected goals versus 1.89 expected goals. Credit to Southampton, honestly, like the pressure was on them to avoid getting that title of the worst team in Premier League history in terms of points. But they've dug out draws away to West Ham and Man City home in their last 2 games, so yeah, that record belongs to Derby still, unfortunately, if you're a Derby fan. De Bruyne and Haaland both started for City as well. 1.18 XGI for De Bruyne as well, 5 shots by him. Haaland a bit of a surprise to start, following no minutes last game week, and he did look a bit rusty to be honest. I mean, he didn't even get a shot off until the 92nd minute. So yeah, unlucky if you picked him up. Obviously it was a great fixture on paper, and we're talking hindsight now saying he's rusty. But yeah, it was a brave call, especially if you sold someone like Salah to get to him. And the upside was massive, whatever way you frame it. I mean, they needed that goal as well, so Haaland played 90. Marmoush benched. He came on late in the game after 80 or so minutes, and he had a brilliant moment actually. He fired an early shot across Ramsdale, which came back off the crossbar. The only real winners this game were Vardy and Ruben Diaz owners, or I guess if anyone accidentally started a Southampton defender or Ramsdale. In a bitterly disappointing season, I'm sure Saints fans will take a lot of pride from that game anyway. But yeah, the curse of the most transferred player continues. KDB had over 700,000 new owners by the deadline. Wolves 0, Brighton 2. Almost 200,000 new Cunha owners as well, left disappointed. It was a poor game from him, including a yellow card for giving away a penalty, and he was hooked before the 60th minute. Strand Larsen was back in the squad, but he only made the bench after that late call on him. Welbeck scored what would have been his 10th goal of the season, only to be chalked off for an offside. Then he went on to score the penalty later anyway. And that's the first time he's ever scored 10 league goals in his career, amazingly, spanning over 17 seasons. 2 losses on the bounce for Wolves then, following that incredible run they'd been on before that. So is Cunha still worth buying? Well, I'd be reluctant now after that poor game in the early sub, and obviously given the fact that he probably won't be a Wolves player next season, but if you've got him, definitely keep him. So I sorted the final 2 game weeks by attacking difficulty specifically on the Focal app rather than overall difficulty, basically to have a look at which midfielders and forwards to look at. At this stage of the season, we've got 2 game weeks to go, so really the sensible play is to chase that burst of upside, which attackers are of course likely to get you. We'll do a proper deep dive in the players to buy video on Monday, so make sure you're subscribed. But yeah, looking at the forwards, I think there's Watkins, Wissa, Wood and Isak all popular. Now, Watkins is the one that leaps out to me. He's got the best fixtures in my opinion. He's 4th on the ticker here after Ipswich, who obviously we're not buying from. I mean, we've got Forest, of course. Wood's an option, does have Chelsea in 38. No Arsenal strikers, so we can rule them out. And then it is Villa. So it's Spurs home next, when of course they've got the Europa League final a few days later. And they've got Man United gameweek 38 a few days after they played the final as well. And that'll be a dead game for Man United. Isak's got Arsenal gameweek 37, so no rush to buy. But yeah, gameweek 38, Everton home is really nice. I mean, he has been a bit off it recently, hasn't he, Isak? Like, he didn't have the best game against Chelsea either, but you'd still back him home to Everton, gameweek 38, with Champions League potentially on the line as well for them, right? And it's worth mentioning Evan Nilsson, who's in the same boat really as Isak, and he's firmly on my radar. Man City gameweek 37, so no rush to buy, but it's all about that gameweek 38 fixture, Leicester home. I mean, if you could have any free forwards right now, let us know in the comments which 3 forwards would it be. I haven't written anything down here, but thinking out loud, I think it would be Watkins, it would be Wissa, and then it would be Evan Nilsson, I would say, those 3, and then just bench Evan Nilsson against Man City if you can. So, speaking of Watkins, Villa 1, Bournemouth 0. Huge win on the road for Villa as they battle for the Champions League places. Martinez heroics again, 8-pointer for him despite getting booked, 2 bonus points. Watkins with their only goal as well, that earned him 3 bonus points. Rogers got the assist there. So yeah, 90 minutes for Watkins as well, which was really encouraging after only getting 70 the week before. And Kluivert was named on the bench, that was a surprise. Semenyo was benched last game against Arsenal, he was back in the 11, and this week it was Kluivert benched. Slightly concerning given Kluivert did have that recent injury, I'm not sure if it's that. I mean, some of you might have seen people in the FPL community found out that Kluivert had just had a baby not long ago. The things that FPL does to a man. I mean, maybe he's not sleeping well right now and just needed a rest. Perhaps Semenyo is the best Bournemouth midfielder for that gameweek 38 fixture though. I mean, let's see what happens at gameweek 37 anyway. There's no rush to buy next game week. A disastrous afternoon for Chelsea, losing 2-0 away to Newcastle. An early Tonali goal assisted by Murphy putting them ahead, only for Jackson to get a straight red card after a monitor review from the ref for an elbow on Botman. He's going to miss the next 3 matches, so that includes next season, so he actually can't play till game week 2 of 25-26. Burn with a late assist, playing a ball to Bruno G on the edge of the box, and a deflected shot looping over Sanchez, earning Burn a couple of bonus points for an 11-point haul. A blank from Isak though, a bit disappointing, but I guess really highly owned, so not a massive impact on rank either way. If you are chasing, and like everyone in your league's got him, or if you're chasing rank, then he is sellable, I guess in that context, especially if you fancy taking his ownership on. I mean, he's got Arsenal away, game week 37, where he's going to have low goal scoring odds, isn't he? And then it's Everton home, game week 38, which is the riskier fixture. Forest home to Leicester didn't go to the script, did it? Forest defenders obviously really popular last game week. They were favoured for a clean sheet, but yeah, Leicester ended up putting 2 past them. Gibbs White had a great game, 1 goal, 1 assist, maximum bonus. Well played if you went for him. Wood got his customary goal as well. That was pretty nice given how many forwards blanked last game week. An early chance as well, about 7 minutes in, and Elanga cross finding him, but his header sailing just over the bar there. I was saying to someone on the deadline stream that that's exactly why I almost never take hits for defenders, right? I mean, Forest had about 50% chance of a clean sheet, right? So another way of framing it is, would you really bet 4 of your FPL points on a 50-50 chance of breaking even, right? The likeliest outcome is, let's say they get 6 points of a clean sheet, so that's 2 points after deducting the hit. Whereas whoever you're selling, they've always got a chance of getting 2 or more themselves. So adjusting how you view hits when it comes to defenders and keepers especially should help you become more hit adverse if you start viewing it that way, and you'll end up with more points overall. Double game weeks are an exception of course when it comes to defenders and keepers, but even then they're not that common. Just as I was hitting record, I was tagged in this message on Discord from Abdul Jalil, and they took a -8 to sell Martinez and Wan-Bissaka, which ended up a -25 point swing in total. And it kind of prompted me to emphasise that point. Obviously, really unlucky for it to be such a big swing there, but more often than not, it won't work out favourably taking hits like that. He did say it was cool for me to use the screenshot, so thanks for that. He has taken it well in this stride, in fairness. A couple of hauls coming from the Spurs versus Palace game. Did any of you have Eze and Munoz for that one? 27 points between them after bonus. Munoz assisting clean sheet and Eze with a brace. There were 2 offside goals as well chalked off for Palace. One of them was a Sarr goal, Munoz assist. The other one, I think it was a Lacroix header off a corner which came off Gueye on the way in. I mean, Spurs, they did rotate lots after the Europa League, as did Man United, who also lost 2-0 to West Ham. I mean, perhaps we won't see as much rotation in game week 37 now I think about it. I mean, the manager might want a bit more rhythm in the team before the final. It's hard to predict really what Postecoglou and Amrin will do next game week. Both teams did make loads of changes, but at the end of the day, even at full strength, it's a shocking season for both. They've both been awful. Like, West Ham now move above the both of them. Man United and Spurs are the 2 teams just above the relegation zone, which Let's be honest, it was unimaginable at the start of the season, but that's where we are now with 2 games to go. Palace's gameweek 37 fixture, of course, comes just a few days after the FA Cup final, so we're going in a bit blind to that one. Same with Man City. We don't know what's going to happen in the final and we can't react to it. Like if a player gets a knock, for example, gets injured, misses the game. So I'm looking to bench Mateta, and I might still have to start the 2 midfielders again, but not the end of the world home to Wolves, is it? Lastly, Liverpool versus Arsenal ended in a dramatic 2-2 draw. A 5th blank in 7 matches for Salah. How crazy is that given the season he's got? Luis Diaz and Gakpo scoring a minute apart for Liverpool to make it 2-0. That's Diaz's 20th goal involvement of the season, by far his best season for Liverpool. Arsenal clawed it back through Martinelli and then Merino, only for Merino to get a second yellow later on, so they were down to 10 men for like the last 10 minutes. But yeah, nothing from Salah again, nothing from Saka either in this one. Bradley did start as Slot said he would and came off second half for Trent, though he did get a yellow, so just 1 pointer for him. Despite the blank, it's still a bit tempting to captain Salah next game against Brighton, but I don't know, maybe Mbeumo or someone else is the solution. I think Mbeumo's home to Fulham if I'm not mistaken, so that's not bad either. Saka's still in my thinking as well for gameweek 38, given he's got Southampton, but yeah, he's not returned in the league since gameweek 30. Only 2 more free transfers available, and I'm about 3.4k right now, so I really want to get these last 2 transfers right. So, an early look at my team and transfer plans for gameweek 37. Got a difficult choice to make in goal actually, Raya or Martinez. Raya's home to Newcastle, Martinez home to Spurs. In defence it's Vardiol, Saliba and Kanate, and then it's Sarr, Eze, Mbeumo, Salah and Rodgers in midfield, and then it's Wissa and Isak up front. So at the moment the bench is Martinez, Mateta, Wan-Bissaka and Byrne. Some solid depth this week, which is never a bad thing. It's between Salah and Mbeumo for captaincy for me, and currently I've opted for Salah with Mbeumo vice. So there's just 2 paths I'm looking at now really. Option 1 is Mateta to Watkins for that Spurs home fixture, where I think we could see more Spurs rotation as they prioritise the final, and you'd back Villa to win that one. So this basically lets me bench Sarr, who obviously plays a few days after the FA Cup final. However, doing this means I'm basically committed to buying a Bournemouth midfielder in gameweek 38 really. Or I guess I could sell Watkins straight away for Evan Nilsson, but I'm not a massive fan of that. The other option is to roll this week, and then in gameweek 38 I can buy Evan Nilsson for Mateta, and then I'll have the money to choose between Saka or a Bournemouth midfielder in place of Sarr. Now I quite like Saka because he's relatively low owned as well, and he's got Southampton. If I was to buy Watkins now, I'm blocked out of affording Saka with 38, so I'm thinking of keeping the options open, maybe sacrificing some points next game week, hopefully not, so the plan is to roll. Let us know in the comments who you're planning to buy, if anyone, or if you're thinking similarly to roll and then game week 38 attack the final week. Given that all 20 teams kick off at the same time, there's always a good chance of some leaks and early team news and so on for a bunch of teams as well, so yeah, 2 transfers could come in really valuable there with that flexibility. I guess flexibility is not easily measurable versus making a transfer now, but it's never a bad thing to have 2 in the bank, is it? There's lots of FPL content coming this week, so make sure you subscribe for the final push. See you soon for the next one.